Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. We have a lot to go over today. But first I want to start off with a video that has surfaced showing something that, well, let me show you and let me know what you think about this down in the comments. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what your rights are, you're not going to be able to practice your rights unless you practice them unknowingly. On this video, it's very important for you to understand how this gentleman is practicing his rights, his First Amendment right, his Fourth Amendment right, his Fifth Amendment right, in order to stave off these federal agents who came to his house to question him as to why did you post these tweets that were somewhat mean. This is what it's come down to, ladies and gentlemen, and unless we stay aware of what's going on, we will go down the same road that other countries in the past have gone down, and it's turned out really bad for them. I also want you to notice on this video the shame that you can see in the face of these two men as they know that what they're doing is wrong. They know that they took an oath to the Constitution and that they are breaking that oath for a paycheck.
Hey, how can I help you? Yeah.
How are you?
Who are you?
I'm Agent O'Donnell with the FBI.
Can you give your full name, please?
I'm Agent O'Donnell with the FBI.
Is that sufficient to identify as the only one O'Donnell affiliated with the FBI?
In New Hampshire, yes.
Could you please state your full name, sir?
Could you please stop recording?
No.
Question here is why do they want him to stop recording? In my opinion, two reasons. Number one, because they know that what they're doing is wrong. And number two, because they know that when this gets out on social media, they will be shamed for it as they should.
It's First Amendment right.
Okay.
What's your name, sir?
Could you stop recording, please?
Absolutely not. You can show me your name and identification, or I'm going to go back inside my house.
Okay.
I don't really want to broadcast my.
Oh, this is going out right after you guys walk away.
So that's why I'm not going to.
So you can show me your name or ID, you can walk away.
We just want to talk to you about something.
I'm not going to talk to people who claim to be federal agents unless they can show me identification.
Okay. Well, you see our badges?
I need to see. Is your full name on that badge?
No.
I'd like to see something with your full name.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, but you are allowed to ask for identification from any Leos, especially a federal agent. Let me know if I'm wrong, ladies and gentlemen, if you're allowed to ask. Not only allowed, but that they are required to show you identification, proving, yes, this is who I am. I mean, anyone can buy a badge anywhere and say, yes, here I am, I'm a federal agent. All right, well, where's your identification showing that you're a federal agent? So I guess that people don't need identification now in order to, cast a vote. And now they don't need identification in order to prove that they are a federal agent.
I'm not going to talk to you.
I prefer you not to broadcast it.
This will be going online as soon as you walk away.
Well, all I want to do is talk to you about a post that was made, and if you
Well,
happen to be the one that made the
I want to talk to you about you guys coming here. Say you make a salary of, I don't know what, low 100K? You guys making six figures? Factor in 50% expenses, overhead, maybe 100% expenses. Talking about burning a couple $100 an hour just here, let alone all the time you guys are spending to investigate something that you know is not against the law, right? Like you're familiar with. So then why would you come?
Because we wanted to make sure that there weren't any.
Is this how you want your tax dollars being spent, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, they're already taking our tax dollars and sending them to every other country except for this one right here. They're already taking our tax dollars and giving it to people who've entered our nation unlawfully. Is this what you want your tax dollars going to? Giving it to people in the form of a salary so that they can harass the American people. That's what this is, in my opinion, of course. Everything I'm saying here is my opinion. So that they can harass the American people, so that they can tell the American people, hey, if you post something on social media that we don't like, we're going to come and pay you a visit. Would it be a lawful visit? Probably not, more than likely not, but we're going to come and pay you a visit anyways. So what happens then? It's a form of thought shape is what I would call it. It gets people thinking, well, let me go ahead and censor myself just a little bit because I really don't want this problem. I don't want any federal agents to come knocking on my door and asking me, why am I posting this? I don't need this in my life. So let me just go ahead and not post this. So instead of posting something that could have made a difference, they self-censor themselves and not post something that they otherwise would have. That's what this is right here. These guys do not care what he specifically said. What they care is that he did exactly that. He put it on social media, and now people will be like, well, let me go ahead and censor myself. But we have to go ahead and beat them at their own game. We have to understand what they're doing. We have to understand what our rights are and then exercise those rights in every form and fashion.
No, you're coming because you're part of a regime that does this kind of thing when you know laws aren't being broken. And that's an embarrassment.
Look
man.
at their faces.
Didn't you guys
Look at
read
their
the
faces.
Constitution? Do you not believe in America? Like, how do you do your jobs and go home?
We appreciate it.
You're walking away. Because nothing we did is against the law.
You see that, ladies and gentlemen? Did you see their faces? What I saw was shame. And what I feel when watching this is somewhat disgust. These guys took an oath to the Constitution of the United States of America. It is the fabric by which this nation was built. It is what's made this nation a place where people are willing to break the law just to get in. They took an oath to that. They took an oath to you, to we the people, to enforce the Constitution, to uphold the Constitution. But just because they get a paycheck and a boss of theirs who's maybe not ideologically aligned with what our founders put in that Constitution, they go ahead and say, yeah, no problem. I'll go ahead and harass the American people on behalf of this paycheck. And by the way, I want to say thank you very much to those of you that take the time to send me these links so that I can share with everyone else. Now, this here is very important, and I cannot play this entire thing on, I guess you can call it FluffTube, but I will leave the link to all of this on a pinned comment so that you can check it out. Now, this here says, breaking news, Sherry Tempany makes worldwide announcement on the United Nations, and this has to do with not really a treaty, but how the UN is trying to take over the sovereignty of all countries worldwide using medical, if you know what I mean. Let me just play a short little bit of it. You'll get the gist of it, and then hopefully you'll revisit it from the link that I leave below.
Anyone that has a dissonant opinion will be labeled as misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation and memory hold. Perpetrators for unapproved information will be fact-checked and punished by the system, which will be operated and enforced by artificial intelligence. Punishments will include being locked out of one's bank account, being unable to make certain purchases, unable to get on an airplane, on a subway, drive on public roads. This is the future, according to the world's self-appointed overlords at the United Nations.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, she is reading off of a document that was pushed through by the UN. And from what I understand after watching this video is that document that was pushed through, it was done in silence, I think is what she meant. Meaning that if nations did not oppose it, if nations did not say anything about it, that it meant that they said, yes, we're okay with it. And everything that she was saying there on how your sovereignty, not only as a nation, but as a citizen of a nation, will come to play. They will make you live how they want you to live by the control of a computer. Artificial intelligence. So go ahead and go watch this clip as well. I think it's very well worth it. Now let's go ahead and get into a little bit of the news. Before we get to the news, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and say thank you very much to the sponsor of this video, Genesis Gold Group. I'm not a financial advisor, but the folks at Genesis Gold Group specialize in helping those who want to diversify their excess wealth by converting their fiat currency retirement plans into a plan that is backed by real money. So if you're in a position where you are wondering what you can do in order to diversify or insulate your wealth against what I like to call the inferno of inflation, give Genesis Gold Group a call and they can provide you with the information that you need in order to make an educated decision. Now, I can sit here and tell you time after time after time how many times in the past I've talked about, hey, you need to preserve your purchasing power with gold and silver. But I just wanted to go ahead and point out that gold hit another all-time high. I believe it was yesterday. It went, oh no, actually, yes, yesterday into today. It actually went all the way up to 2680. Right? Usually on this number, whatever number you see here, like right now we see 2671, you usually add about $10 to that, and it's what it's really selling for out in the market, plus whatever premiums are added to it. So it went to an all-time high of 2680. And let me tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, what people are going to say, oh, gold is too expensive to buy right now. Well, I have hopes that gold will do a retracement just a little bit. It needs to do a correction. Everything can't just go up straight in a straight line. And as you can see, gold has been doing it right. It's gone up, then it's corrected, it's gone up, corrected, and then just gone up, right? So it's been correcting and going up at the same time, hitting new high after high after high. Now, silver, in my opinion, is going to do the same thing. It's just lagging as it always has. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not telling you this because Genesis Gold Group is the sponsor of this video. I'm telling you this that no matter where you get your precious metals, I'm not a financial advisor, but no matter where you get them, get some. At the very least, protect some of your wealth with a little bit of silver. That way, if the day ever comes where you need it, you will have it, instead of not having it and wishing that you'd gotten it. Now, again, I've been talking about this for years, and I remember years ago when gold was like $1,300, $1,400, people saying, oh, gold's too expensive right now for me to get. Silver's too expensive at $12 plus, oh my goodness, a $7 premium. Silver's way too expensive at $19 for me to get some right now. I mean, people were saying, silver's $12. Why is it $19 to buy? Because of the premium. But look at what silver is right now. Had they purchased at $19 a few years back, they'd be almost 100% right now, or close to it, about 70% or so. What I'm saying is, ladies and gentlemen, that what I do and have been doing for years is just dollar cost averaging. There have been months where all I could get is 1 ounce. Last month, all I could get was 1 ounce and like 5 or 6 grams of silver. That's all I was able to get. That's what was in my budget. Times are a little tough right now, but every single month I go there and I get something. Heck, my wife just saw a roll of dimes that I got from Alaska Rare Coins like 2 months ago that I forgot about. That's all I was able to get that month, was a small roll of dimes that were pre-65. So 64 and previous. And that came out to like $100 or something like that. Right now, that same little roll of dimes that I paid $105 or so, like 2 or 3 months ago, that same thing is probably about $120. I've already made like 15% on that roll of dimes. Anyways, I digress. I just want to show you this so that you don't get caught up in the same thing that many people got caught up in the past, where they say, oh, gold's too expensive right now. Well, then get a little bit of silver. Oh, silver's too expensive. And then they find themselves saving everything they have in fiat currency, which is only going down in value, and not getting at least a little bit of that real money that can really save you behind one day when it really counts. The time to prepare is now, not because of what may happen in a week or two, but because eventually, ladies and gentlemen, you will need your preps. And none of us know exactly why we will need it. It could be for a major world catastrophe. It could be for a localized event. It could be merely because you lose your job. But check this out. Just days left until a crippling port strike paralyzes the East Coast. With just over a week to go until D-Day, authorities are gearing up as a threatened strike by dock workers at ports along the East Coast and Gulf Coast draws closer. And I just highlighted some of the key parts. Again, I always leave these links on a pinned comment. Even a 2-week strike could disrupt supply chains until 2025. So it's a little worse than the month or so that I originally thought. Port trade is around 2.12 trillion, and 72% would grind to a halt. A one-day strike reportedly taking 6 days to recover. A one-week strike in October creating bottlenecks until mid-November. So imagine if they go on a 1 week, 2 week, man, imagine a 1 month strike, ladies and gentlemen. If goods are then forced to shift to the U.S. West Coast, Robobank speculates that the Asia-U.S. freight rates would leap to $20,000. Incredible. Far above the peak seen in the last supply chain crisis. That would mean that firms with low margins would opt to not import at all, creating empty shelves. So what they said right there is that if this strike is not settled and imports are going to have to be unloaded all the way in the West Coast, it's going to increase prices substantially. And or some companies may not decide or may decide not to bring in anything at all because they just can't afford it. And I understand, ladies and gentlemen, that's why I saved this story till the end. Oh, Rudy's talking about the BRICS again. The BRICS, the BRICS, the BRICS. It's been years about the BRICS. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the years that we've been talking about the BRICS, I hope that you've been preparing for the day when the BRICS nations finally get off of the dollar's teat. With less than a month before the crucial BRICS annual summit in Kazan under the Russia presidency, serious informed discussions are raging in Moscow and other Eurasian capitals on what should be at the table in the de-dollarization and alternative payment system front. You know, not too long ago, whenever these political pundits, heads of state talked, the word de-dollarization did not come out of their mouth. Why? Because they feared America. They saw what happened to other nations when they tried to get off the dollar. Iraq, for anyone that doesn't know, about 1 or 2 years prior to the invasion into Iraq, Saddam Hussein went ahead and petitioned the UN to be able to sell oil in euros and not dollars. Well, maybe he shouldn't have said that because you all saw what happened. And what I think is that other heads of state were afraid of doing the same thing. Well, now they've joined together, and now that they found that they have power when they're joined together, they're no longer afraid to say the word de-dollarization. Head of the task force on financial services of the BRICS Business Council detailed the list of top projects under consideration, and they include a common unit of account, which is being said that is going to be called the unit, a platform for multilateral settlements and payments in BRICS digital currency. From what I understand, they're going to go ahead and back their currency, which is being said that will be called the unit, by 40% gold and the rest by commodities of whatever individual nation is trading with that unit. Now, ladies and gentlemen, why is that so important? Because people are realizing that just a paper note with nothing backing it up is not a tangible item. It's not something that has value. It's merely a promise. But if you take a currency, be it digital or be it paper or whatever it may be, and it has actual tangible value, meaning that I can take this piece of paper and I can go trade it in for some gold. All right? It has real value backing it up. They're starting to realize that that is a much fairer way to trade, and that sanctions from Western nations won't affect them as much, if at all, if they're under this system. And what happens when this system becomes active, when it's actually being used? It doesn't mean the end of the dollar. It just means that the Federal Reserve note, the dollar that we use in the United States of America, is going to become worth a lot less than what it is now. Same reason why I always say protect your wealth. And listen, to those of you that you can't protect your excess wealth with like gold and silver, as I'm always touting, buying a can of corn is protecting your wealth. Because there's one thing in life that's guaranteed, and that is that inflation will continue to go up as long as we are under a fiat currency system. Yes, I know taxes and death is always guaranteed as well. Now, you can think whatever you want about the BRICS nations, ladies and gentlemen, but the fact of the matter is that their actions will have consequences on those of us that use the US dollar, because the US dollar, not only is it losing value, but it will continue to lose value as long as it is a fiat currency. We have to go back to an honest time where a dollar was a dollar every single day instead of it changing on a daily basis. Think about it this way. A currency or money should be something that is unelastic, that does not change at all. And the best comparison that I can give you, or example that I can give you from money, how it is that is so important, that is not elastic, it doesn't change, it stays true all the time, is when someone is building a home. I didn't make this up, I just heard it from someone else a long time ago, I forgot who. But he said, imagine, I think it was Mike Maloney, right? I think it was Mike Maloney that I heard it from. He said that imagine if you're building a house with a tape measure where every day the measure of a foot changes by a little, maybe a little less today, maybe a little more tomorrow. So this is a foot today. Let's say tomorrow that this is a foot on a tape measure. And let's say that the next day this is a foot on a tape measure. Do you think that house is going to be okay once it's finished being built? I don't think so. Same thing with money. Money has to stay the same way all the time. It has to stay true. Why? Because the value should be within the money. Fiat currency, ladies and gentlemen, the value is always changing. Why? Because it's not money. It's not true. I hope that makes sense. Having said that, I probably made this video way too long. But if you are still here, I want to say thank you very much for your support. You are awesome. I hope that you have a great rest of your day and great rest of your week as well. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.